Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in the Western Hemisphere, and to the rest scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth who look like the other nations, but through the patrilineal lineage go back to the Hebrew Israelites. Here's an article that I found kind of interesting on from WFLA.com, and the headline reads, "New Florida bill would require businesses to accept cash." Now you have to ask yourself, why would they be so interested in passing a bill that would allow businesses to accept cash if the sentiment wasn't throughout the whole earth that we are heading into a digital society, okay? Because these are the telling of the times, you see, and people are worried about this. They are hearing and seeing how close we are to getting this CBDC up and running, which is eventually going to lead to that mark, all right? So for the people here in Florida, you know, I guess speaking of the older crowd, they are trying to placate to them to tell them that don't worry, you know, we're going to fight and not bring a CBDC where you can keep your cash and your money, because that's what the older crowd are used to dealing with is cash, okay? They don't want to have to capitulate to these new rules that's going to be implemented once they do away with cash, okay? So these senators and these governors are trying to assure that the elder crowd, and not just the elder crowd, but just individuals in general who like to use cash and who want to, I guess you can say, buck up against the system, will have an outlet to use their cash and not have to capitulate into the, you know, standards or the requirements of using anything other than these, you know, means of operations, okay? Because as we read the article, we see that businesses want to do away with cash because it's just, you know, cumbersome. It's just too much to have to wait for a person to dig in their purse or their wallet and, you know, look for the exact change, and it could all just be done away with the tap of your phone or, you know, other sources of income other than cash, okay? So like I said, this is the article. It says, new Florida bill would require businesses to accept cash. Tampa, Florida. A new Florida bill would require certain businesses to accept cash for many transactions. The bill, SB 106, was proposed by Senator Chevron D. Jones, a Democrat whose district covers part of Miami-Dade County. If passed, any businesses selling a tangible good or service to a person physically at the business must accept cash, okay? See, and that's the whole sentiment. You got individuals out there who don't want to, you know, capitulate or acquiesce to the demands of this society, how they feel crumbling under this new age technology, which they can't, you know, fight it. It's going to come. It's prophesied. Okay, but to make them feel better about themselves, they're going to try to tell them that we're going to continue to what? Fight for you where you can use your cash and you don't have to worry about, you know, things going to hell in a handbasket, okay? Some may make the argument that they trying to do this because it's an election year and they want to, you know, get their votes or as many votes as they can by, you know, giving them some sort of hope. But eventually it's going to all come down to this digital currency, okay? Now it says, if passed, any business selling a tangible good or service to a person physically at the business must accept cash if it would accept other forms of payment for the purchase. Businesses would also be prohibited from charging a fee or placing any conditions on accepting cash. So you can see once again the sentiment is that cash is becoming an issue. People are not wanting to deal with cash. They are becoming, you know, isolated from wanting to have to deal with cash, okay? Which is all going to play into effect when they roll out with that CBDC, where everything is going to be digital. It's just going to make things move a lot smoother, or so they believe. Okay, it goes on to read, the bill would not apply to internet sales or sales done by phone, mail, or other electronic transactions. It would also not apply to parking facilities owned by municipalities or parking facilities that accept electronic funds transfers, okay? So basically, just like your essential, retailers like your Walmarts, your Targets, your grocery stores, they would have to accept your cash, okay? And a lot of these elderly people and just individuals who don't want to, capitulate to the system, like having the option of not using anything other than what they want, which is cash, okay? But cash is, like I said, going to be a thing of the past. They're gonna come out with that CBDC, which if they don't have the mark on it when they come out with it, it's going to eventually lead to the mark. So as much as they give you this false sense of hope that you can, keep your cash and that this society would never go into a digital society, it's all, misdirection, misleading you, okay? Because the prophecy spoken of in Revelation 13, the 16th verse down to the 18th tell you that this society will indeed transition from, cold hard cash to digital currency, okay? So let's go and get a few scriptures and let's take it from there. Okay, this is Psalms 55 and 21, and it reads, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, okay? And by them giving you a false sense of security, thinking that, they're going to pass a bill or a law that's going to keep businesses from, outlawing the use of cash just for you to feel good for the time being or momentarily, that's just setting you up for failure, because essentially everything is going to lead to that CBDC or digital currency or some form of, currency where you have to pay using, technology, all right? Which is ultimately going to lead to the mark, okay? So however they wrap it and give it to you, eventually it's going to all lead to the mark, all right? So if you want to be momentarily deceived and lied to for the time being, fine. But just know everything will indeed get transferred over to that digital currency, all right? This is 1 Thessalonians 5, and let's just go down to verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, we're going to propose a law or a bill that would, ban businesses from not accepting cash. What? Then sudden destruction come upon them, right? Because eventually they're going to have to get on board with everybody else, and receive, or accept that CBDC or that digital currency. They're not going to do transaction with cash anymore. Okay, you're going to be left with it if they don't pass a law saying that you have to turn in all your cash or something of that magnitude, all right? So it says, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right, you're not going to escape these prophecies. They're going to come, whether you are ready or not, whether you believe it or not, you're going to have to face it one way or another, okay? So if you don't want to face it now, you want to wait till it come and bite you on the, on the rear, then you can get it like that. Okay, but we telling you ahead of time so you'll be prepared and you won't be caught off guard. Okay, they coming with this digital currency, whether you know it or not, whether you want to continue to spend your cash, which is no problem with that, but knowing that, this thing will come to an end where they accept cash. Cash will no longer be, king. It will be obsolete. It's going to be the digital currency. You're not going to be able to buy and sell anymore without cash. You may be able to transfer or turn in your cash into the new currency, but other than that, you're not going to be able to use cash anymore. All right. This is Romans 3 In verse 3, it says, for what if some did not believe? Okay, you may not believe what we telling you, that this society is indeed going into digital. Okay, you may want to believe that you can buck the system and somehow continue to ride it out and continue to spend your cash, and don't believe that these prophecies are going to come to pass. It says what? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? No, the Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Right. So you can't put the trust of man over what the word of the Most High say. The Most High say in Revelation 13, the 16th chapter on down, that you won't be able to buy and sell without having this mark. Okay, and knowing what the mark is going to be a key component of telling you what and how you're going to be able to operate in this wicked society. All right, it's not going to be cash where you could go into a store and, you know, pull out a 20 or 50 or 100 and buy something. No, that's going to be obsolete. You're going to have that currency, which is going to be on that mark. And that's even if you're allowed to go into the store, because it may just be based on, you know, your status. Depending on what your status is, you may not be able to go into a store. You may have to have different levels to, you know, signify something like when it was back in the 2020, where only essential workers were allowed to go out at certain times of the day. Okay? So, you know, depending on how they roll this thing out, you may have to just, you know, get whatever they give you, however they give it to you. Okay? So one thing for sure is that this is the truth. This is the word, whether you want to accept it or not. Okay? Whether you think in your mind that, you know, things are just going to continue to go on how they are and they're going to just drag out and never, you know, transition over into this, you know, CBDC, which is going to essentially turn out to be the mark eventually. Okay, that's on you. Okay, Habakkuk 2 and 3 tells us that what? The vision is for an appointed time. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Right. And once it comes, everything else is going to roll and fall into place, you know, back to back, simultaneously. Okay. So this is just a, you know, friendly reminder that even though they try to tell you that we're going to pass a bill, or we proposing to pass a bill or a law to keep you from, you know, worrying about having to, you know, transfer over into a digital currency, it's only at best momentarily. Okay. Because eventually everybody's going to have to get on board with it. Okay. That's why it says in Revelation 13 and 16 that what? And he causes all. You go into that word causes is make. He's going to mandate it. He's going to make it mandatory that everybody, okay, that what? Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. This is their technology, which is going to be on that mark. Okay, you're not going to have cash anymore at this point in time. Okay, it says, in that no man might buy or sell. This is how you're going to transact. This is how you're going to use and do your transactions, with the mark, not with cash. Okay, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Okay, that's the only way when they pass this law and mandate it that you're going to be able to conduct business in this society, is that you have to have the mark. Okay, so keeping your relic cash, if that's how you want to look at it, and thinking that when they pass and mandate the mark that you can somehow spend it at these stores, no. Or you can go to the small store and spend it, no. Because all participants on this beast system will be transitioned into the, you know, into the mark. Okay, that's how it's going to be. Okay, so whether they tell you now or tell you later, it's just up to you. Okay, if you want to believe that they could pass a bill or a law to momentarily, restrict the transaction or transition from businesses not accepting cash, okay, go right ahead. But like we read in Habakkuk 2 and 3, the vision is for a appointed time. It will come. Though it tarry, wait for it. It will not tarry, okay? So, yes, the vision is for an appointed time. And we telling you we're close to that appointed time. So be prepared and be ready so that you don't get caught off guard. All right? So, going to go ahead and close out. Not going to make it too long, and we're going to take it from there. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. And it reads, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Right. And if he can get you to believe that prophecy pertaining to the mark isn't going to take place because we're going to keep it where you can have the option of using cash, in certain circumstances, then he'll push that narrative to keep you, off your P's and Q's. All right. But you have to know, pursuant to prophecy, that, it doesn't matter what a man says. You don't put your trust in man. You put your trust in the Most High. And he gave this prophecy into John, okay, in Revelations to tell you that, hey, in the end times, this is what you can look forward to, okay? This is going to happen. It's set for an appointed time, all right? And we're measuring the times diligently to know that we are in those times right now, okay? It's just one incident away from this taking place, all right? So, be sober, be vigilant, know exactly what's going on, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, and if he can get you to fall into this, then he can get you to fall into something else. It can get you to be thrown off, okay? So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom.